Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 31st, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well and in good spirits and high hopes. And by spirits, I mean little ghosties, because it's Halloween. Happy Halloween, y'all. I know I don't usually do too much to celebrate, but so I would do the little spooky sound off and stuff, get at least somewhat in the spirit. I will say today, for at least like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, I worked out to like a little bit of like a Spotify Halloween playlist. It's kind of nice. It was kind of a little bit of bop, hitting it to Ghostbusters. That was kind of cool. But yeah, no, overall, it's been a good day. Let's see here. Work went fine. No real worries, no complaints. Let's see. Like I said, the workout went well. Had a good pump. And let's see. I mean, people did dress up. It was nice. I saw a Ninja Turtle. I saw a vampire. I will say though, dressing up when you're working at a warehouse is a choice. Obviously, I support it. If you want to get in the spirit, go off. Oh, I saw Santa Claus too. That was a thing. But for me, no. I am getting dusty and dirty and sweaty. So no, you're gonna catch me. I will say I was at least color themed. I had a black, hoodie, some orange joggers on. So it was a little bit of a vibe. It looked all right, right? Not too spooky. But no, overall, good day, good vibes. Let's see here. Food Corner. Food Corner was nice and simple. We were in soup mode, had a little soup night. But I gotta say, the soup was a chicken tortilla soup, but the real main attraction, it had me looking up at the sky saying, this is what life's about, y'all, was the ciabatta bread. I said, you know what? I'm not doing this nature's way wheat bread situation when I got a whole ass half of ciabatta bread. So I broke that half in half, had two big pieces of bread. I put some butter on it, put some salt on, threw them in the air fryer. They came out nice and crispy and soft. Oh my god. Oh my god. It was so good. And I was like, this is the kind of stuff that makes life worth living. I felt like a prisoner who was getting their first meal in a real long time. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just hit different. It hit better. So yeah, it was nice and simple, real good. So yeah, I mean, we're all caught up on my Joneses. I feel good to go ahead and do this startup, and we'll get into some news. Hopefully that sounds good. Whoa, yeah. Oh, we love that. Okay. Excuse me. First story comes from Variety. Young Thug released from prison after accepting plea deal in Georgia RICO case. So, y'all know I usually don't start with the good news, but we're going to start with the good news right up top. After an historic drawn out trial, Young Thug has officially been released from prison after pleading guilty in his long standing RICO case. Standing before a judge earlier today, the rapper whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams pleaded no contest to RICO and gang leader counts and pled guilty to the rest of his charges, including 2 gun charges and 3 drug charges. The judge sentenced him to time served on several counts as well as 15 years of probation, which, if successfully met, would lead to the commutation of his service portion. So, overall, this is a clap it up. We love to see it. Like I said before, at the very top of this shit, was I the biggest Young Thug fan? No, I wasn't. But I'm really not the biggest fan of the system, especially when I feel like the system is not doing its job in terms of even saying like, hey, we want to bury this person alive and we got to prove it. And you're just not proving it. You're kind of floundering and flopping around. So much so that the judge is like, do you guys like have a case? Like, this is getting close to a mistrial, which I feel like all of the events and like some of the stuff we've covered, obviously a lot in between that we haven't, but it really forced the prosecution's hand to be like, okay, can we just do a fucking plea deal with these people? Like, because it wasn't just Young Thug, it was also other people in his Young Slime Life YSL organization. Like, they were trying to kind of group up and say, yeah, you guys are all involved and all doing like criminal racketeering bullshit. Actually, I want to read a quote from Thug. Before sentencing, Thug spoke for the first time in the case after spending the past 2 years in prison. It's worth noting before I read this quote, I gotta burp somewhere. Had to let the frog out. Okay, sorry. He was in prison and was remanded, no bail. So they had him in prison for 2 years on this shit, just chasing their tail, flopping around, not fucking getting this conviction. And so they said, you know what? Fuck it. Like, can you just cop to this shit and we'll more or less give you like time served, but you have to serve 15 years of probation. Can I say that that's wild? Like, to my knowledge and what I've covered since I started this shit, 3+ years ago, I've never heard of a probation sentence that long. It's insanely long. And I think we're all going to make light of it because at the end of the day, we're all very happy. I mean, I hope and think most people would be that Thug is out and, he's able to be amongst the living in the real world, not buried alive. But probation sucks shit. Like, it's not something that I've been through personally, knock on wood. I'm never trying to go through any of that shit. But that being said, like, it's not fun. It is a very tedious thing. There's a lot of things that you cannot do, and you are very sequestered to one area. You have to report to a probation officer. I don't have a lisp. What am I doing here? It is a whole ass fucking hassle, and to have to do that for 15 fucking years, that's crazy. But at the end of the day, being out is always better than being in. That's for sure. Ask Steve fucking Bannon, right? Anyway, let's get to this quote. I'm sorry. I'm a smart guy. I'm a good guy, and I got a really good heart. And I really got a good heart. Sorry, he told the judge. I found myself in a lot of stuff because I was just nice and cool. And I understand you can't be that way when you reach a certain height because it could end bad. Sure. Okay, awesome. I get it. During the dramatic court hearing in court earlier today, Thug changed his plea after Superior Court Judge Paige Whitaker asked if he had agreed to a non-negotiated plea, meaning prosecutors and defense could not agree on a sentencing deal, and the power to determine punishment turned over to the judge. So yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. I wasn't sure what was happening. Like, I had gotten this like breaking news shit like while I was at the gym, and I was literally like on the elliptical, like, hold on, I gotta figure this out. What's going on here? And I was like, okay, it does look like he is going to be out. But I mean, he could still be put behind bars for 23 years if he violates parole. So that's a stinger part to this shit. One, he had to cop to this. Two, if there's any fuck up on his probation, which, like I say, it can be very easy, he could go right to jail. So like, that's fucking dumb as fuck to me. Like, that it's just such a long, drawn out period for that. But I wanted to read a little bit further. Earlier this week, 3 of Thug's co-defendants, Rondalis Ryan, aka Lil Rod, Quamarvius Nichols, aka Qua, and Marquavius Huey, aka Qua. If you know, you know. Accepted plea deals in the case. Ryan, who is already serving a life sentence for a murder case from when he was 15 years old, pled guilty to a conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. His 10-year sentence would be commuted to time that he's already served. Nichols had Nichols had several charges dropped and was sentenced to 20 years in prison, with 7 of them to be served on probation. Huey was indicted on 19 charges, had some of them reduced or dropped. He was sentenced to 25 years, only 9 of which he will serve in prison. Now, I don't know if Thug and his legal counsel made this decision because these plea deals got rolled out, and maybe it's like, okay, this might tip the case in a bad way for us, or if this was just everyone came to the conclusion, prosecution came to the table, and they said, you know what, this is the best deal we're all gonna get, let's fucking take it. I don't know. Maybe more details will come out later in the future. But like I said, y'all, I'm really just happy about this. And maybe some people are saying, oh, you're just happy to see, black guy beat the system. He totally was guilty. Rah, 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 blah, 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 blah. Well, if you think that or feel that and you're listening to this podcast, eat a penis. I don't care. I really don't fucking care. But it bothers me, and it's always bothered me. And this is more so because this is the Law and Order nerd in me, that if you are a prosecution, and we got to take it up to, what is it, old Fannie Willis, right? She's trying to get Donald Trump. She's also trying to get fucking Young Thug at the same time. And I'm sorry, not to quote the man, or not to reference the man, but in a way, she's like Hitler fighting two wars here. You feel me? Two fronts. And it's like, homie, I don't know if you can win either of these cases. And you gotta fucking having a whole ass fucking, affair with this guy who's on your legal staff. Like, you're juggling a lot of balls here. All right, no puns intended. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. Anyway, at the end of the day, you're stretching yourself fucking thin here, and I don't think that you have a RICO case here against Young Thug. And I also have gotten to this point as a human being, a citizen of America, where I've just seen the RICO case spammed like it's Goku's Kamehameha wave. And it's just like, oh, you guys are a gang. You guys are an illegal organization, and we're just going to bring you all down. And really, they don't do the thing that you're supposed to do in RICO, where you connect the dots from the bottom to the top. I just don't feel like they did that effectively. I feel like they flopped and floundered around a lot. So I do not think that the state proved its case. And I think that they were struggling. I think they were writhing to fix that, to correct that error. And this was the way they decided to do it. And you don't have to do an Alford plea pretty much, because you literally got this guy right here up front. So you just say, hey, cop to the shit and we'll let you go. We'll just let you go, dude. Long ass fucking probation, but you get out of here. You get out of jail. And I get why you take that deal, for sure. So, for now, we'll leave it at that. Am I happy? Yeah, I am happy to see that shit. Because once again, I just think the state did not fucking prove it. And if you can't prove it, let that shit go, dude. They should have let that shit go before. But once again, they wanted to get a conviction. They wanted to make sure that this wasn't for nothing. So that's what they pushed for. But yeah, I guess good luck, Fannie. Hopefully you get Donald. Hopefully you do better on that one, even though who knows? He's got fucking that immunity shit. We've talked about that. Whatever. We gotta get political anyway, so let's segue onwards. From CBS News, Supreme Court clears way for Virginia to remove 1,600 alleged non-citizens from voter rolls. The Supreme Court on Wednesday allowed Virginia to move forward with its removal of roughly 1,600 or 1,600 alleged non-citizens from its voter rolls just days before the 2024 election. The High Court granted a request from state officials to pause a lower court order that blocked Virginia from continuing its voter removal program that was launched in August, exactly 90 days before the election day. A provision of the National Voter Registration Act requires states to complete programs aimed at purging ineligible voters from registration lists up to 90 days before federal elections. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Keegan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson said they would have denied the request from Virginia officials. But they are obviously in the minority, and all the conservatives said, you know what, no, this is fine. To them, it was a common sense situation, since these are known in terms of, like, on the paper, they are, non-citizens or whatever. So it's like, yeah, they should be purged. This just makes sense. But the problem is, and I've talked about this a little bit before, is that this is a very common conservative tactic that comes around all the major elections, where you try to do what I call a bunch of nuisance laws, and you try to enforce these nuisance laws or enact these nuisance laws in order to get a result that you think will disrupt the election in a legal way that really tips the favor in on your side, because you think these people are people who would have voted Democratic, they would have voted liberal, which is very frustrating. It's very annoying because, when I listen, I was on a listening start here, and they're like, in a lot of these situations, they are people who simply filled the fucking form out wrong. Because at the end of the day, no one wants to usually take this shit to the ultimate level where they are voting illegally and then going to jail. Like there's a reason why they have that shit on papers, and they say this to you. You know, it's like, hey, do you understand that like this is all legally binding stuff that you're getting involved in, that you're stating, right? And you go, yeah, I understand. But sometimes you fully don't understand. Sometimes you're misinterpreting it, and it's not even like that you're a migrant, or, you could just be an elderly person. You could be just, a little fogged out that day. You're at the BMV or the BMW, whatever it is. I'm from Ohio, sorry. Where, and you just get it a little wrong. You tick the wrong box, and you put your John Hancock and you move on. But oopsie, you fucked up. So, I think for me, the biggest thing here is that if Virginia did this before the 90 days, they had all fucking year to do this shit. But instead, they said, no, we're going to ratchet our shit up. Instead of doing monthly checks, we're going to do daily checks. And then we're going to drag our fucking nuts till August, and then we're going to do it. So, I mean, yeah, kudos for Glenn fucking Youngkin. Congratulations, brother. You got to do this shit. I fucking hope, brother. I hope Donald Trump gives you a fucking call and tugs your nuts. I hope you feel really good about that. You're going to be top governor. Too bad you couldn't get on the fucking ticket, you fucking lame. Anyway, it is what it is. I will say, because I can understand how you can, draw this up and say, hey, these aren't legal voters here in the situation. And there's also another important thing here that they made sure to say, hey, you do have 14 days or whatever, to re-register if you are a legal citizen, and this is just a mistake. So they give you the window to correct the error. And for that, I'm like, okay, awesome. But this is where I go back, and this is why I call them nuisance laws. Because at the end of the day, there is a strong fucking chance, because you've not in all history really seen this. And yes, I am also including 2020. There wasn't any kind of fucking interference. This is all just fucking bad vibes, and your guy wasn't winning. So now you're jumping to these conclusions. These people were never going to go to vote that made this fucking mistake, most likely. It's just highly fucking unlikely that they would. But hey, go off. You got what you wanted. Awesome. And there's still a chance for people to vote. So there you go. You take it. Let's see here. I really just want to move on from this shit. It is whatever. You know that pussy be Youngkin. Anyway, let's move on to the next bit. We went from fucking Virginia and the Supreme Court. Let's go to Florida. And I wish we were going on for like a little vacation, but no, we're doing Machete. And no Danny Trejo. I wish. That was a good movie. I enjoyed that shit. It was fun. But no, this is not the same. We got Braceface over here. But let's ABC News. Florida teen with machete arrested for voter intimidation at polling place. An 18-year-old was arrested outside of a Florida polling location Tuesday after police said he wielded a machete in order to intimidate voters. Caleb James Williams faces charges of aggravated assault on a person 65 years of age or older and improper exhibition of a firearm or dangerous weapon. In a press conference after the arrest, Neptune Beach Police Chief Michael J. Key said Williams brandished a machete in an aggressive, threatening posture over his head at two women, ages 71 and 54. Williams was accompanied by 7 other males, so he had a little posse with them, ages 16 and 17, who police said went to the Beaches branch library to protest and antagonize the opposing political side. And look, I have no problem here with the protest half of this at the end of the day. I cover a lot of fucking protests, and believe it or not, if you want to protest some shit that I don't agree with, will I cover it? Probably not. But at the same time, that's your right. Okay, dude, just freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, all that fucking shit. I'm not trying to really piss on that shit. Except for the second one, there is a utopian world that I would like to live in where we live like other countries and we just don't okay the shit. Call me crazy. But at the end of the day, if you want to have a gun, rock a gun, go the fuck off. Pop off. Boom, boom, boom. Do that shit. Just don't aim at anybody, I guess. Whatever. And try not to fucking get a crazy ghost gun or some dumb shit. At the end of the day, do your thing. All right? But taking it to the level of I'm going to intimidate old ladies because they're going to vote the way I don't want and I'm gonna fucking come at them. Like, no, dude, that is literally legal ass shit. What are you doing? The group was there for no other reason but for ill intentions to cause a disturbance, Key said. This is not an incident of solely a First Amendment protected right, but rather one where they were simply there to cause a ruckus. And bring the ruckus they fucking did. None of the other teens currently face any charges, but Key said the investigation is ongoing and additional charges are possible. That does make sense to me because Williams is 18, and it sounds like everyone else in the little group was just Alvin and the fucking Chipmunks. So it's just easier to kind of make an example out of this one kid, and then, you know, whatever, they just get a stern talking to or some shit, even though they're pretty guilty. And, you know, how we know this is, you know, whose sides are on what. The kids came in with the Donald Trump flags and all that kind of fucking shit, and the women that they confronted, or the individuals they confronted, had like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz like support signs or whatever. So clearly they had the intention of trying to scare these people, you know, coming up, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where I'm sure there's probably some conservative jug hooting fucktard that's like, oh yeah, no, this wasn't even that bad, la 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 la. But it's like, no man, could you put yourself in that position? You know what I mean? Especially then. And I also thought about it. I'm like, well, I would be definitely scared. I'd be freaked out. But like, I would wonder if this kid really does think he's Danny, if he really thinks he can swing that fucking thing. But once again, I'm 34 years old. I'm a dude. Like, you know what I mean? I've been hitting the gym now for like what, almost 3 months. I'm a little feral. Maybe I'll take a chop. I don't know. But like, that's a different thing if you age yourself up and put yourself in a situation where it's like, damn, dude, I can maybe barely hold this sign. I get like arthritis and shit. Like, you can't fucking roll a dex check, okay? You can't fucking do it, you know, a fucking punch or some shit. You can't fucking punch him out of here. So, yes, that's scary, dude. You know, needless to say, you shouldn't have to do all this fucking explanation or exposition, whatever the fuck. No one should be coming up to you while you're going to do your quote-unquote civic duty and potentially get assaulted or get, you know, threatened or whatever. Like, that shit shouldn't be happening. It's annoying enough to me that you have to, like, potentially go to the polling place and have to, like, hear people yelling about rah-rah and blah-blah, and maybe they got props with their fucking Carrot Top or some fucking shit. Like, once again, that's a big reason why I do not like actually going on the day. That means I had to use PTO because I'm not trying to do this shit after work. And then I have to potentially get in the line, and then I have to fucking see all the weirdos and the freaks. And especially in my town, no thank you. No thank you. So yeah, I've definitely resorted to trying to always do absentee, and then I if it's like midterm stuff, I will go because that's like super low because no one gives a shit, sadly. But you know, it's usually in and out, right? At least once again, where I'm at. But I mean, this is just one of the many, at least these two stories I've really talked about. There's so many things that I'm not covering that I'm definitely missing. You know, and even there's like, you know, there's just tons of shit. What can I say? You know, it's definitely going to be a busy fucking week this week and next week, at least in terms of the politics. So, you know, I'm sorry if I'm really annoying y'all with this shit, or you're like, oh, I'm so sick of talking about this shit. But it's like, hey, this is my time. This is prime time for me. What can I say? But yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll close it out. We got to take it to Russia. We got to take it to the motherland. But we also got to talk about Google. We also got to talk about the most money I've ever talked about on this fucking podcast. So hold on to your butts and your wallets. I don't know. Let me go ahead and take my last break here. Sipping on some water. I'm going to do some other things. Feel free to do some other things with me if you'd like. I don't say this enough, but in an ideal world, we're all taking our startups and our breaks together. That's a vibe, right? I that was my first review that I really liked that someone said, is that I love this podcast because it feels like I'm in the room with y'all. Like this is when it was a 2-man outfit. And I was like, thank you. That's what we want. You know what I mean? This shit is not perfect, but you know, it is a group effort and we want the audience to feel like they're a part of the group. You know what I mean? And then when I was just by myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm not FDR, but I want a fireside chat. You feel me? I just want to fucking kick it with y'all. I just want to talk about my day. I want to fucking talk about what's going on in the world today and what I feel about it. Because I don't get to do that enough. Anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and do that thing. Ooh. Ooh. A jump scare. I'm coughing. Sorry. Okay. Hauga. From CNN. Russian fines Google $20 decillion. I think I said that correctly. Russia is seeking an unfathomable sum of money from one of the world's biggest tech companies. Google reportedly owes the Kremlin more than 20 undecillion rubles, a 2 followed by a 36 zeros, after refusing to pay fines that are now accruing for blocking pro-Russian channels on YouTube. The virtually unpronounceable penalty amounts to 20 decillion, or around 20 billion trillion. That dwarfs the size of the global economy. I believe Google can amass about 20 million, or I'm sorry, 2 trillion in market value. But yeah, they're not going to be coming up with that scratch, nor would they pay it. At the end of the day, they have been blocking them since 2022, I believe, and it ratcheted up more so after the invasion. So, like, actually, now that I think about it, just getting my times right, yeah, that does line up perfectly, right? Yeah, 2022. Gosh, it's been a while. But yeah, no, I mean, so since the invasion, they've been blocking channels. And I guess since that's happened, Russia's like, yeah, you're on the hook for that. You're not supposed to be doing that. Like, you're fucked up for that. You're so wrong. You're so petty. And they've been racking up this fine, and they're like, yeah, this is what it's worth. And at this point, when you ask the Kremlin, they're like, dude, we can't even pronounce this shit. But like, it's about sending a message. And in that regard, I do fuck with it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not trying to come off like a tanky or something crazy. Y'all know me. But like, at the end of the day, that is so fucking funny. They said they're gonna love this shit. We love this shit. Let's fucking go. And they fucking sent it. They said full send. Let's fucking decillion, fulfillion, $1 billion, bro. That's how much you owe us for fucking us over. So yeah, obviously Google's not trying to pay that shit anytime soon. I think they did have a little bit of a statement just to say like, hey, we're not like worried about it, but it doesn't seem like it's affecting anything in terms of like stocks or anything like that. So everything's probably Gucci at Google. I don't think that anyone's losing any sweat over this, but definitely funny, definitely a little bit of poppy news, and I always give Russia for that. They're clever with that shit. But anyway, let's go ahead and close it out. All right, still a little long, but it's okay. Let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, patreon.com/Isaiah News. You can put a little money in the tip jar, do that little monthly thing. Tomorrow, it's a new month. No more Dracula dates. We're going back to normal. And I'm doing a shout out. So, shout out to my newsies. The roll calls are coming. Trains are coming. It's full of news. So many newspapers. So yeah, feel free, to do that. And if not, that's okay. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Dude, and if I ever find IsaiahNews@gmail.com, I want to talk to them. And I hope that I'm successful and thriving so I can get that. I want that. I want that name. I want that email. But don't worry about that. You can hit me on any of the socials because you're probably a normal person. You're probably my age or a bit younger. Not too much younger. It's 18 or up. So don't be weird. Unless you're like, I've never had to say this, but Like, no one listens with their kids, right? That'd be crazy. You'd be crazy for that. I say, like, so many bad words. So, like, I mean, hey, maybe you got a cool kid, like, and he's like, yeah, it's okay. I don't say cunt, but I know what it means. Oh, wow. Don't say cunt. That's a crazy word, and at least in the States. For a man, as a man, I should not say that. But yeah, God. Hi. You can hit me up on any of the socials, though. You know what I mean? The Facebook, the Twitter, or X, the everything app. Let's see here. YouTube, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. And if you're on Spotify, you can do the same thing. Every once in a while, I try to drop a comment just to just to do it. Not on my shit. That'd be cringe. But just like on like a podcast I listen to, and I'll put something down. Then no one ever responds or anything like that. But it's cool. It's just nice to do it, and you can do that for me. And I'd really appreciate it if you did. Sharing is caring. It can be fun. It's okay if you don't, though. Once again, it's all good. It's all good. Once again, and if you listen with your kid, that's cool. I'm not judging you, by the way. Awesome. Base. Everyone knows about news now, but listening is just the coolest thing. It really is awesome that you take time out of your day to listen to my dumbass. Like, that's wild. That's crazy. And you've made it this far. I've gone 30 minutes. Just talking, just yapping and yammering about Young Thug and my thoughts about the fucking justice system. That's crazy. And I love you for being crazy with me. You know what I mean? So, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And I hopefully see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.